This is the Kizer Vanguard Pelican Mini. Pelican Mini, it's not so mini at 3¼ inches blade. Maybe in my collection it is, but generally that's considered a somewhat full-sized knife. So the Kizer Pelican, I would love to see what the Maxi looks like, because that would fit even better in my collection, as I like the larger knives. But I had to get this knife. I love kmaxrom's designs. Kmaxrom, Jonathan Renaudin, he was on my show. He's a French knife designer, and I've been following him for years on Instagram and was thrilled to see the knives that he's been having produced by Kizer and Concept. I believe I was talking about the non-mini Pelican. I believe that's the one that's in titanium frame lock with some fluting and some sculpting in the handle. But this one, man, just really has always appealed to me, with the black micarta and the black stonewash blade and just that shape of that blade. This thumb swale here on the blade is a very emblematic bit of design language for kmaxrom. You see it on his other knives like the Preta 2 and the many iterations of the Pelican in both fixed blade and folders that you can see, custom knives he makes and other things. You see that thumb swale, which leads to and naturally creates two peaks on the top of the blade. I've lately been calling them double peaked Bowies or double peaked Tantos or whatever. I just love that look. It reminds me of the classic Mac V SOG Bowie that was created for Special Observations Group. I think that's what they're called, in Vietnam, the Vietnam War. Before we got hugely involved, we had special forces in there, and they used that double-peaked Mac V SOG Bowie knife that has that double peak, and I love that. And that's what this reminds me of. Boy, that's the long way around to just say I love that blade shape. This is N690CO. You see kmaxrom design. N690CO, a lot of Kizer Vanguard knives, especially from a few years back, used that blade steel. That's a blade steel extremely common in Italian knives, other European knives. It's sort of the European go-to steel. It's not a super steel, but I don't really need a super steel. It's a very get sharp quickly and easily and stay sharp, reasonably long sort of steel, very stain resistant. And I think people say it's like 440C, is that right? Or 150, I don't remember what people say its analog is, but it's used a lot in Italian knives. Fox Knives is sitting on 50,000 tons of this, and they put out almost everything in N690CO. And it works for me. So it's a thin blade stock, very high flat grind, very, very, very sharp and thin right here. As you saw when I did that, it left a little bit of skin. It's a very thin and slicey blade. But it also has that point very near center line. And I like that too, because you always know where the point is, whether it's upside down or what angle it's at. That point will be just about in the same spot. You've got thumb disc or thumb stud deployment, and it's got a pretty stout detent, more so than I was expecting, and it really does make it rocket out. On occasion I will miss it because I'm not giving it enough oomph and my thumb slips off or something happens. But when I pick up this knife, I know I'm going to have to give it a little juice to get over that detent. It is a pretty stern detent. Okay, you have nested liners, nested steel liners. You can see the milled out holes in there. Does that help? Yeah, see those holes in there? Yeah, makes it light. Same thing on the lock side, but I just love how they're nested. I do dig nested liners. The lock bar works very easily. There's no chamfering or no jimping on that, but it's unnecessary because there's a big enough cutout here that it just, your thumb just hits that, and it's not unpleasantly sharp or anything, and boom, it drops shut. Action on this is just wickedly smooth. So this is one of those 3.25 inch blades that has sort of gotten through my stringent 3.5 or above. It's like the Yojimbo and several other 3.25 inch knives. I just have to open myself up to this, because there are so many great knives in this blade size, 3.25 inches. I think I set up sort of arbitrary guardrails so that I don't just buy every knife ever created, and size is one of those things. I feel like a Seinfeld character sometimes, you know, just looking for the tiniest little reason to dismiss something that's very good, just so that I don't have to deal with it. In my case, just so that I don't have to spend the money on it. A great jimping, you got 4 jimps, or 3 peaks and 4 valleys there, and they work very nicely, though I do find my thumb just naturally going up into that position. The canvas micarta is so nice. It just feels so good in hand, and it was all gray when I got it, and you can see on the seams on the side, it's totally blackened up. I love that, and it's starting around here, around the periphery. I do love how micarta patinas. And Kizer seems to use some really good micarta. This is pretty nice, this loop over pocket clip. I've had a little bit of issue getting it under the fat seam of some of my, pants with fatter seams on the pockets. But with my jeans, which are all worn down, it works perfectly. It's fine. You've got the flattened screw heads that are flush. A thin enough clip that the fact that it's not recessed into the handle material doesn't really play too much in. You've got nice standoffs there. And one thing is this tail could be rounded out just a little to more to the contours of the liners, and you still would not touch that blade. And to me, that would be better. I'm not going to do that myself. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's great in reverse grip like this. If that were rounded off a little, I believe it would feel even better. But that's just a personal, I don't know, peccadillo. I wouldn't mind seeing that knocked down just a little bit. But it's not my design, and this is a design thing. So there you go. Really nice knife. I do love the thumb studs. I love everything about this knife. I love it. I saw Stella's Knife Obsession get this, and I was like, man, I've been meaning to get that for years, or a couple of years now, and I saw her and the glee with which she opened the box and was using it, and I thought, hot diggity damn, I better get myself one. All right, let me show it off with a couple of knives. Here it is with the Preta 2, the kmaxrom sort of flagship design for concept. This nice big knife. I love this knife, and I have its titanium brother somewhere. I thought I was carrying it. I guess I'm not. I have its titanium brother and in Tanto, and now they have one with the blackened blade just like this, and the black micarta like this with a blue pivot collar. I'd love to have it, but totally don't need it. All right, so some knives that are sort of competitive in terms of size and use, I would say. The Bug Out came to mind. This other kmaxrom design from Concept, also called the Pelican, comes to mind. Kubi Vagrant, kind of in a similar vein to me. Just like a great work knife with a classy and with a design that goes the extra mile to look cool and interesting, but doesn't sacrifice any of the purpose or use of it. Dig that knife. All right, 2 others. Off-Grid Cayman, kind of very similar, at least in terms of blade length and overall size. And then lastly, the Finch knives. What did I get on there? Oh, okay. The Finch knives Devil's Finger. Also a great knife with nice canvas micarta, similar blade length and purpose. This one will run you a little bit more though than this Kizer 154 cm blade steel. Such a nice knife. I love this happy little fella. All right, so there it is. This is the Kizer Pelican Mini, designed by kmaxrom. If you don't follow kmaxrom on Instagram, do yourself a favor. He posts great pictures of his knives, both the production models and then the beautiful custom knives he makes. He also, incidentally, teams up with Pyrenees Kydex, I believe they're called. Another French outfit, no doubt, from the name anyway, and makes some really cool sheaths for his fixed blade knives. So check it out. All right, thanks for watching.